Okay, today I just want to do a real quick video to give you a couple of tips, 5 to be exact, of things that you can do to close out 2019 as strong as possible. And they're really 5 very simple tasks, things that you could probably knock out today and get rolling and make sure that you have an awesome closeout to your 2019 and you're in a great position for 2020. So let's go through them real quick. Number 1, review your pipeline for lost deals. So we're looking inside of our database and we're looking for deals we've either forgot about or for whatever reason haven't gotten the necessary follow-up, but at some point you had a good conversation that made you feel confident that there was something of value in this conversation and in this particular lead. Oftentimes, there's always 3, 4, 5 of those that are just kind of sitting around that we forgot about or we've let sort of age on us because the other parties become non-responsive. So I want you to follow up with a call and an email on, again, those probably 3 to 5 deals that are just kind of lost in the system. Number 2, I want you to write and send these 3 emails to your entire pipeline. And I'm going to mention all 3, and I'm essentially going to give you the subject line, and then from there I want you to flesh it out. But there are 3 emails that should trigger some brand new deals into your pipeline just by sending these out to your entire database. Number 1, wrapping up loose ends. So we're getting into the holiday season, people are wrapping presents, we want to invoke that sort of emotional trigger, and there's also usually this kind of list of things, and oftentimes a lot of our businesses fall into kind of these maintenance sort of products and services that people have on their list. They want to knock them off, but they're just kind of sitting around. So that wrapping up loose ends, the end of the year is the time when people are sort of thinking about that, and it should trigger a few people to say, hey, I need to go ahead and take care of this by the end of the year. In that email, you should make that process of wrapping up that loose end, whatever it is that concerns your product or service, as simple as possible. So give them a kind of, hey, this is only going to take a few minutes, or there's only 3 steps to this, and we can kind of knock this off your to-do list. So give them a sense that 1, they should wrap up that loose end, and 2, it's super easy. Email number 2, sometimes the best gift is the boring stuff. So again, this will apply to a lot of products and services that we have, that there's just kind of boring stuff, but they have big advantages. One thing that I could think of in particular is if you're in the insurance business, right? Insurance is one of those kind of big gifts potentially, but it's just kind of boring to get it in place. But if anything, heaven forbid, should happen, it's going to be the biggest gift that you can give your family. So playing on that theme as it concerns whatever product or service that you're selling, that could be a big win to get that trigger happening and get them to sort of reply back to you and get that inquiry started. The third one is, again, maybe you want to actually take some of the anxiety off of them and you say, hey, let's schedule something in January. So you take away the urgency and the priority that we often put on people as sales and really kind of pushing for that meeting. And instead we say, hey, let's just go ahead and put something on the books for January 1. You'll probably book out your new year, which will blast you off. And you're going to get a few people that are going to say, hey, no, let's just go ahead and take care of it now. So again, those 3 emails should be built out. You can build them out today, write them, and set them up as a sequence to go out to your whole database over the next 2 or 3 weeks as we close out 2019. So number 1, wrapping up loose ends. Number 2, sometimes the best gift is the boring stuff. And number 3, let's schedule something for January. All right, number 3 on our tips list, write a new welcome email series. So go ahead and make that 3 to 5 email sequence. Go ahead and write that down so that it's built out in your database. So as you add in new leads or new inquiries come in, or you load in new inquiries, they're going to go ahead and get that welcome series. If you already have one, look at it, refine it, see if there's anything that you can do to tune it up. Most of you probably just dump people in and then you just start emailing them, and there's no sort of warm up or welcome series in place. So encourage you, go ahead, bang out those 3 to 5 emails and really optimize how you bring people on board into your book of business. Number 4, prune your database. This is something I talk about all the time. When you're just pounding for a database, and maybe you had it for years, you're actually building a negative reputation, because a lot of that data in there is probably obsolete one way or another. So get comfortable with deleting emails. So if someone has not responded, opened, or in any way to your email for the last 6 months, just hit the delete button. They're not doing you any good, and you're not doing yourself any service by continuing to pound those into email service providers that are going to start to say, hey, this person is just pounding into our inboxes and they're not adding any value. No one's opening what they send, so they're probably a negative impact to all of our customers' inboxes. So go ahead, delete those emails that are non-responsive, and then that leads into number 5, restock your database with fresh inquiries. So depending on how you're getting those inquiries, maybe you're using consumer data, maybe you're purchasing a leasing list, using aged leads, or just generating your own new inquiries. But whatever that mechanism that refreshes your database, really think about in the last 2 or 3 weeks, getting that database restocked with fresh inquiries so that you can, again, start these things that we've just talked about working on, and then really set yourself up for a strong January. I also have to encourage you, when you're restocking that database, try to focus on recent inquiries. That means inbound marketing that's actually generating those inquiries. If you are buying leads, focus on real-time or age leads that are relatively new within the last 30 to 60 days. We don't want to restock this with ancient stuff. You'll have the same problem that you had when you needed to prune your database, right? So try to restock your database with as current an inquiry as you can possibly afford. So hope those 5 tips help you and get you started in closing out your 2019 super strong and get you ready to jumpstart 2020. Till next time, enjoy, and we would encourage you to subscribe and hit those notification buttons.